Okay. Okay, we're good.
Good afternoon. This is Councilor Bill Solms. I'm calling this regular meeting of the Ledger Town Council Finance Committee to order. Present are Councilors Ingalls and Ryan, along with councilors, members of the committee, and then also Councilors McGrattan and Rodriguez, Finance Director Matt Bonin, and online, Kristen Chapman. And Kristen Chapman's in the room, and that's everybody.
And I just admitted.
Oh, yeah, and also Chief Rich. So that said, are there any citizens' comments? Hearing none. Welcome, Chief. I would ask for a motion to review and approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second,
Any comments, corrections?
just one. I think I was physically present for the last one. It says remote.
Okay, I'll correct that.
Unless my memory is failing me and somebody
So
can
you were
correct.
here.
Yeah,
You
you
were
were
here.
here.
Sometimes it blurs together.
Sometimes it
What day
does.
is it? Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, Councilor Ryan.
Mr. Solomon votes aye, and the motion passes. And Finance Director's report, please. Mr. Bowen.
So the revenue and expenditure reports are attached, just a few things to touch on there. As far as revenues, taxes, we're now at 100.7% of budget,
Yep.
which equates to about $300,000 more of just under 300 of collections than budgeted for. The problem areas, nursing revenues and tuition revenues, those remain the same. We've discussed those in previous meetings. We're still awaiting the final payment on the Pequot grant. Usually it's in by now. It's not in.
Yeah.
We anticipate that to come in. That's $464,000. And excuse me, federal impact aid. Rachel had told me that she thought we were getting some more payments. She's supposed to check on that. I had a meeting with her yesterday. That's running 112,000 under budget right now. So we're hoping that comes in within the next few weeks. On the expenditure side, still the same problem areas that we've talked about previously: legal expenditures, obviously the healthcare issue, dispatch, and then the utilities. My conversation with Rachel, she should have pretty good numbers within the next few weeks as far as where they're going to end the year up. That's what I have for.
Okay, so non-resident tuition is like 25%, right? I recall. It's really low.
It's low, yeah.
So my
yeah.
question is it slow in receiving, or we just had that?
That's it.
That's
What-
it.
What
Wow.
you see there for tuition.
That's what we're getting.
That
that's
was
what
the
we're getting.
enrollment.
Wow.
Like that's a reflection of the enrollment number. That's
That's
what
really-
you're really
yeah,
asking.
yeah,
It's not a
yeah.
delayed payment.
That's
It's the
really
actual.
low.
I know those numbers were scaled back in
Yeah.
the 23 budget.
Yeah.
So that would be a question for the Board of Ed is why is the tuition lower?
Yeah.
So I have another question, but probably for the Board of Ed as well, and that is about impact aid. I seem to recall that between 20 and 21, they did not require families to file the form again. They just went with the prior year numbers. Does that sound familiar? And,
Yeah,
and did that carry?
You'd have to get that info from the board.
Okay. It's really side information. I just curious.
And then a couple other things, just an update on the ARPA accounting. We had a meeting last week just to go over who was kind of going to be the owner of what ARPA project, just so we have a good handle on that. We've got a big spreadsheet going for that.
Right.
And Ian had set up all all the new accounts for ARPA. So we've got a good handle on who's going to be handling or running what project. And
Great. Could you send me a copy of that, Matt? Because I
sure,
want to update our version.
yeah,
Because we need to wrap it up here in finance and present it to the council and say, here's everything that we did.
yeah.
And I was going to do it this meeting and then the agenda expanded, so I didn't. But I would like to
Yeah, I
update
can
our
send you
numbers
that.
just to make sure we're in
It's
sync.
going to be a kind of a living document for
Sure.
me where I'm tracking
Yeah, yeah.
expenditures by project. And
Yeah, I just want to know
Back
what we
into
approved,
minutes.
what we
Yep,
allocated.
sure.
So that's all I need.
Yeah, and then just an update on the Board of Ed healthcare overall. I'm in the process of doing an analysis of FY '22,
Mhm.
which obviously isn't over, but it's very time consuming with all the moving parts in there. So I want to, before we set the process of how we're going to budget that properly next year, I want to have that full analysis done and tracking, are we getting full payment from all the retirees that we're supposed to be getting payment
Yeah.
for? Because the retirees are supposed to be net zero cost.
Right.
You know, they're supposed to pay the blended rate. There's a subsidy from TRB, but when you combine all that together, it's supposed to be a net zero cost.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that it truly is.
Did Ian get the information he was waiting for from TRB?
That was me.
Well, you were, well, Ian was writing the,
Right,
policy.
Ian started drafting a policy and then we kind of put that on hold until we get our arms around all the financial data.
yeah,
And then we're
yeah.
gonna circle back to that policy.
that makes sense.
There was some info from TRB that we were waiting on that we did get.
Okay, good.
So
Okay.
that's where that's at.
Thank you. All right, old business. I think we're ready to move on item number 1, the Public Act 21-1.
Sure, I'll take that.
Okay.
Oh, wait, oh, it's just a discussion.
Yeah.
Or-
But we could move on it. But let's talk about it and then we'll have a motion.
Okay. So,
Go ahead.
so this came to admin from land use. Now, does finance need to discuss the fact sheet?
I don't think so. I think finance's only interest in this whole process is what's it do to the town revenue, what's it do to the town expenses. And we're sending it to referendum,
Mhm.
so we're not going to make a decision yet. But I do think each committee who has an interest in this should be voting to move it forward, to recommend the council move it to the
Mhm.
public.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking we should talk about, should finance, do we agree with moving this forward? The question itself.
Well, hold on a second, if we could, because the agenda item itself is only, I mean, if it is only about including the fact sheet.
Right.
Okay, all right.
No, it's a general discussion about the whole thing. It doesn't, the fact sheet is attached, but it should be just a general discussion of the whole thing.
Well, so
But I
when
think Tim's point is the motion that admin approved was only about moving the fact sheet to the public.
well,
Actually, admin approved 2 items. They approved the question at their May meeting, and then they approved the fact sheet at their June meeting. So they did a 2-parter, as did land use. They both voted on the same 2 things in 2 separate motions.
Okay.
I don't know. if
right, but my point was that if I open up our agenda item, it says motion to include the fact sheet as presented in the draft dated June 8th in the August 2022 Events Magazine Publication.
Oh,
That's-
okay. That probably got updated when I updated it to move it to the council for next week. Sorry,
Ah, okay.
because it's the
So-
same legislative file.
So then
That's what happened.
I guess I'm unclear on our agenda item as it states under old business is simply a discussion. So I'm unclear on what we'd be moving tonight, Bill, then, other
Yeah,
than
so-
the fact sheet.
In discussion, Tim, we can always make a motion.
Right.
In discussing it, I'm saying, I think we should make the motion to move this forward to the council.
Okay.
That's, Scott, saying, I think we should make a motion.
All right.
Clear as mud?
It is clear.
Well,
as-
but again, moving what? I guess this should have all taken place. All this
Well-
entire discussion should have taken place after we seconded it, but sorry about that. So,
We haven't had a
We
motion
didn't
yet.
motion. I started to and then realized
Yeah.
it wasn't actually on the agenda as a motion.
okay.
So,
Okay, so I can give you some language if you want an actual motion. I can give you a two-part motion. You could have a motion to recommend the town council submit the following question to the townspeople to be included on the ballot of the November 8th, 2022 election. Shall the sale of recreational marijuana be allowed in the town of Ledyard? In addition, let me get to the other language. In addition, hold on.
I've got it too, Roxanne.
Okay, so the in addition is going to be motion to forward the town council, forward to the town council for approval, the facts to know regarding the retail sale of adult cannabis, Senate Bill number 1201.
So you don't have to read the whole thing. I've got it here and I offer to make
Okay.
the motion. Just reading from the admin minutes from last week.
Oh, perfect. I was reading from two.
Yeah.
Okay,
So still discussing, I'm thinking we should move both items, put the question on the ballot and include the fact sheet. And both motions are to recommend the council do those two things.
And that is what admin approved
Correct.
earlier, last week. Sorry.
Yeah. Correct. Last week and the month before.
Mhm.
Okay.
Any other discussion or thoughts?
I just don't see on the draft of the fact sheet, we had talked about in admin adding a couple of informational items. So at the bottom, it says more information can be found. It lists the
Right.
CG.
I talked with, I think we're gonna put a QR code there, Andra, with all the documents. So they can scan the QR code and they'll get to all the
Great.
documents.
That's perfect. I like that. Okay, thank you. But so should that be reflected in the draft anyway, because,
Actually, it is not, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll put it, it is on, but not on that one.
okay.
Okay, you guys ready for a motion?
Mhm.
So this is Counselor Psalms. I move that the Finance Committee recommend the town council submit the following question to the townspeople to be included on the ballot of the November 8, 2022 election. And the question is, shall the sale of recreational marijuana be allowed in the town of Ledyard? Question mark. Secondly, I move, and this is one motion, but I move that we also include a fact sheet to forward to the town council's consideration. The facts to know regarding the retail sale of adult use of cannabis, Senate Bill 1201, as presented in the draft dated June 8, 2022, in the August 2022 Events Magazine Publication in preparation for the November 8, 2022 ballot question.
Counselor Ingalls seconds.
Thank you. Discussion.
I think we
I
should
think we're all
do this.
discussed. Yeah. Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Counselor Ingalls votes aye.
Councilor Ryan votes aye.
Mr. Solomon votes aye, and motion passes. We are not ready to act on item 2.
This is becoming like a family pet that won't die.
The cannabis thing.
You know, the sip, this
Yeah.
item 2.
Oh, yeah, no,
This
2.
is just like,
Yeah, so we're gonna put that away next meeting. Okay. I'm looking at the admin minutes, saying, where's the other stuff?
oh gosh.
Okay, so new business, first item, I'll accept the motion, please.
I'll take that one. I move to reduce the appropriation in account 210-20101-57510, police capital vehicle, and increase the appropriation in account 101-20101-51609, police salaries and wages, captain, by $10,517 to fund the newly created captain position. In addition, transfer $10,517 from account 210-90305-59300 transferred funds to account number 1019502-49002 transfers in. The effective date of this motion will be July 1, 2022.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you, Tim. So the town council moved to appropriate money last year, as I recall, for this position. The town did not take any action, but the town did take action to promote the lieutenant to the captain position. But a year has gone by, wages and salaries have changed, and as I understand it, that's the reason for the difference and the need for an additional $10,000. Any questions or discussion?
Go ahead, Tim.
So the $10,000, I'm looking at the detailed agenda item, and the department request says $12,892 deficit.
Yeah, you're right.
Can I clarify that?
Yes, Chief.
So in working with Matt on the actual numbers, what I failed to account for was the fact that all of the exempt positions, if you will, not our department head and resolution positions, are in line for a 2.5% increase. I hadn't accounted for that 2.5% increase already built into the salary. So therefore, I overshot the mark by that $2,000 and change when I made the original backup sheet.
Oh, okay.
After meeting with the mayor and the captain and HR. That was the number that we left with, was at 12,000, et cetera. I hadn't accounted for the fact that the position already had a built-in 2.5% increase into the next fiscal year, starting
Into
by
the
July
salary.
1.
Right.
Yes. So
okay.
that's the difference in the and Matt was very astute in catching that, and so he adjusted the numbers for the motion.
So the correct number is the 10 number.
That's correct, sir.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry, Andre, I cut you off.
That's okay. So my question, Chief, is really about the timeline. I certainly, let's pay our people correctly. But I'm just curious about the timeline because we knew this position was coming. So can you just walk me through? I'm certain I'm not connecting dots in my own head.
Sure. So in the appropriation for the fiscal year that we're in right now, the council had voted on this last year and approved a number for to go into salaries to include that captain's position with the contemplation of a salary of $100,000. The timing in the fiscal year, what happened is was a bunch of different events, including kind of a reworking of our sergeant's staff, if you will, which resulted in 2 promotions in January. So the priority for the department was to get the supervisory staff situated, which happened in January, and then I tried to give it a little bit of time for them to settle in and make sure that everything was moving forward. Their probation will end, those two new sergeants, in July. So after that settled out is when we started the selection process for the captain's position, which was in April, and assembling the assessment panel, et cetera. And that assessment happened, I believe, on April 22nd. And then the actual promotion was May 9th. So it happened late in the fiscal year. Don and I, in the preparation of the budget for this coming fiscal year, we didn't communicate well, and I'll take full responsibility for that because HR and finance normally enter all the salaries for everyone, and we didn't connect in advance. In addition to that problem, if you will, or oversight by me, the captain, as a non-union employee, has a separate employment agreement with the town, and we met on, I believe, May 26th. It should be in the little backup there, for the purpose of the captain to discuss the terms of that employment agreement, which included the salary. So once we had the number, after that meeting, and I believe May 26th is when I started to put together the motion for this particular meeting to make sure that the position is properly funded for the fiscal year starting on July 1. Does that make sense, Andre? Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. So I guess as you're talking, my own question is sort of forming more cohesively. So the heart of my question is, we anticipated the position. We anticipated a captain's salary, but somehow that didn't get correctly communicated into the budget.
Since we authorized those funds, there was a new contract with the sergeants, is what I understand the chief is saying. The sergeant salaries were adjusted. When you adjust the sergeant salaries, then everybody else above, if you don't keep up with those.
Okay.
So
That's definitely part of it. That's definitely part of the bill. On July 1, the sergeants they go into the third year of their contract, and there is an increase for the sergeants and for everyone, but the sergeants, the highest paid sergeant moved up. It was relatively significant, and it is the driver going for the higher ranks, going toward the higher ranks for sure. It's definitely a factor. So that's where, if there was a miss, that's where it was. It was basically in the timing of all of this happening in the fiscal year, and the budget for 23 already having been prepared back in December, January, and so that's what we're trying to do is make sure that we're properly budgeted for July 1 and going forward.
Sure. Okay. So again, I'm perfectly comfortable with the transfer. I'm just trying to understand how we missed getting it included in the budget.
Yeah.
That's really, okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, Tim, questions?
The only question I would have, other than what we've already covered, is whether or not, this is taking it roughly 30% away from the vehicle budget. Given where we are in the year, I'm assuming this doesn't have, this has a negligible effect on that account. Is that correct, Chief?
That's correct. As of right now, after current fiscal year vehicle purchases, the account still has a balance of around $27,000 and change. And in that vehicle account as well, there are periodic additions throughout the fiscal year because by resolution, certain fees actually get credited to that account throughout the fiscal year. So we will have a little bit of wiggle room there in case we do have an issue. There will be additional replenishment, if you will, in small amounts throughout the fiscal year.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you guys ready to vote?
Mm-hmm.
All in favor, please say aye.
Counselor Ingalls votes aye.
Counselor Ryan votes aye.
Counselor Psalms votes aye, and the motion passes. Next item, please, Tim.
All right, I move to recommend the town council transfer $41,475 from custodian salaries account number 101102001 TAC 51160, the contract maintenance account number 101102003 TAC 53700 for cleaning services to Town Hall Annex, and the Ledyard Police Department for fiscal year 2023.
Is there a second?
Second, Counselor Ingalls.
Thank you. So we lost our employee who was doing the custodian position. did not have an applicant within the town and contracted with this company who had, as I recall, the lowest bid. So we're moving the money out of employee salaries to move it into outsource or external supplier.
Mhm.
Questions? Ready to vote? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye, Counselor Ingalls.
Counselor Ryan votes aye.
Counselor Solomon votes aye. Motion passes. Next item, please.
I make a motion to recommend the town council authorize overspending the legal fees account number 101-10205-53615 for town attorney expenses through June 30th, 2022. Funding to be transferred to the legal fee account number 101-10205-53615 at year end.
Is there a second?
Second,
Thank you. So these were legal expenses that were unanticipated. One was for Brown's Crossing Bridge. Another was a lawsuit, as I recall from the notes. Both unanticipated, both were lengthier than expected. So we've got to make up to pay the attorney. So, unfortunate. Tim, question?
yeah, so we covered something very similar not too long ago. Well, maybe it is now, maybe a couple months ago, but same question, I guess. Do we have any idea, understanding that this is a motion to authorize overspending with no cap? Do we have an idea of what additional expenses might roll in through the end of the year?
I can answer for what I have for outstanding invoices right now for May is $3,193. I have not yet received the June invoices. So again, the April and May combined was 30% of the budget for the year. So we just had rather large expenses between all of the town attorney fees for those 2 months. So some months it would be $800. So we just did not anticipate those large bills.
Do we have?
Go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
Jim.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was just curious for the June, understanding you don't have it yet, obviously, but do we have any reason to expect June to be more than May or significantly less than May, or?
I think that's hard for me to answer because there's so many different folks that utilize the town attorney for
Right.
different reasons. So, the mayor does, Steve Massey does for public works, land use for some things. So again, it's really hard to know ahead of time what we're going to do, what we're getting. I do not think it will be over $3,000 for June, but
Right.
I'm not positive.
And Matt, I guess the last question would be for you. Let's assume for the moment that we continue the trend and spend another $3,000 in June. We're going to be roughly $6,000 over the budgeted amount. I'm assuming that works out in the calculus for the overall budget. Doesn't really make a difference overall.
Well, we'll have to deal with the overage at year end.
Right.
Transferring from accounts
Correct.
that are expended and, right.
So,
Uh,
go ahead, Tim.
Nope, go ahead, Bill. I think
No,
you were going to
Ed's-
say the same thing.
Well, it appears from my reading of the notes that the two drivers that caused this overrun, those cases are concluded. Or
Right.
They still,
They are not.
they are not.
Oh.
Okay,
They are
Okay.
ongoing issues.
okay. All right, so we really don't know. Okay.
We I did bring in FY20, we spent $19,906 on town attorney fees, FY21, $18,731. So we have been running on that 20,000, but
Right.
we have those two cases that are driving a large portion of the budget.
Understood. Yeah, I was just trying to get a feel for where we might end up on this. That's all. I
Good question.
generally don't like motions that, where we authorize overspending without a cap. But understand in the legal field that's sometimes necessary with what we have to deal with. So,
All right, you guys ready to vote?
Yep.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye, Counselor Ingalls.
Councilor Ryan votes aye.
Mr. Solomon votes aye, and the motion passes. And the last item is item 6. Tim,
I move to appropriate $10,251 received from the sale of surplus items through Gov Deals as follows. $4,051 to account number 210400101 TAC 57315 pooled vehicles, and $6,200 to account number 210401111 TAC 58240 building upgrade reserve.
Second, Counselor Ingalls.
Thank you. Motion's made and seconded. We are doing great with Gov Deals. As I recall, and actually wrote down because I don't recall from the mayor's comments last week, we sold a 2013 Ford Explorer with 155,000 miles for $4,051. And the 60 solar panels sold for $6,200. They're 11 years old. And we have 4,382 active participating bidders within 50 miles of Ledyard. And I recall the days when we had 4 bidders.
Yeah.
So this is really awesome. I think we did well.
Yeah, I'm actually, I've convinced myself that I need to pay more attention to Gov Deals because that Explorer was a good deal.
Yes, it was. I was looking at that too. And I said, wow, could have had an Explorer, a 2013. So yeah, but kudos to the mayor for pulling this off. We've been doing it for a few years now. It's really changed the way and the dollars that we receive. So that said, you guys ready to vote? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye, Counselor Ingalls.
Council Ryan votes aye.
And the motion passes. That was our last one. I would accept a motion to adjourn.
That's
So
yours,
moved.
Andrea. Second.
It's 5:31. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Hi, Tim.
Thank
Good
you.
night, Tim.
Have a good night.
You do.